All right, people, give it up for Leo.
Alright, picture being without time, not knowing anything ever with our crazy school schedules. That would be how people felt before timekeeping was invented. Do you know the first clock or way to keep track of time?
A sundial.
Correct. So, according to history, the sundial was the very first way to keep track of time. Alright, the sundial was mainly used back then, but people used other things such as timers and calendars inside, where the sundial cannot catch the sun's light. You probably know one timer called the hourglass, but have you ever heard of the water clock? Okay. So these things were all used in Rome, and therefore ancient Rome could keep track of time because of their clocks, timers, and calendars. Alright, my first question was, how many methods of tracking time did the ancient Romans use? I found that the Romans had a few ways of keeping track of time. They used sundials, water clock timers, hourglasses, and calendars. These were the ways that ancient Romans kept track of time way back then. My second question was, how did the Romans use the sundial? I found that the sundial used the sun's light to cast a shadow from its mast onto the ground. And since the earth is spinning, the sundial catches the sun's shadow in different spots on the ground where there are Roman numerals. And the Roman numerals are hour markers. And they showed what time it was as the shadow moved across the sundial. And the trick was to set up the sundial so it worked, because if you didn't, it would get off time. And so you had to point it at true north, not magnetic north. And the difference was between them was that magnetic north is where the North Pole is, but in science class, do you know that the Earth is off axis? Yeah. So if it wasn't off its axis, so there's an imaginary line that goes down Earth. That's where true north is. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah, and then, but the sundial isn't perfect, so you can't track what time it is on a really cloudy day or at nighttime. So, one thing that the sundial does do that tracks nighttime, see this little blank space at the bottom? That's where nighttime is. So wherever the sun, this is where the sun doesn't go at nighttime. All right, my third question was how did the water clock work? And I found that there's two types of water clocks. One acts as a timer, like an hourglass, which has markings on the inside of the bucket, which shows how much time has passed until the water ran out of a spout. It was like an hourglass because the hourglass uses sand, but this uses water. But then there was also a more complex water clock, and it had a water supply that trickled out into this thing which let out water at a certain pace, and it filled up a tank with a float in it, and the float tracked how much time went by as it floated up. So, and this had like a clock or a timer on the side to show how many minutes, days, or hours went past depending on how much water you released out of that thing at a time. All right, my fourth and final question was, how did the Roman calendar work? I found that it worked just like ours, but it took the Romans a little while to get to how many days and months of the year there were. Well, and then Romulus, the first king of Rome, he made a 10-month calendar. But, yeah, so, and then King Numa added the months January and February to it. And at this point, they still only had 355 days. So, when Julius Caesar came along, he correctly adjusted the calendar to the correct amount of days of the year, and he added leap year, so for that 1/4 of the day. And for my connections to today, I chose Roman numerals because no matter what type of time tracking method you use, they all use Roman numerals, water clock, sundial, calendar, and they were an inspiration to our number system. Even though they use letters, they still use the same concept of base 10. It's not letting me. Okay, there we go. And you know how to use Roman rules. In conclusion, time helps us stay on schedule. It helps track when things happen, and it shows how far we have come in history. And then if time had never existed, we wouldn't know where we would be and when. We couldn't tell when something happened, and we would repeat history and our mistakes over and over. So, thanks for watching.
Fabulous
Do you have any
presentation,
questions?
Lance.
Do you know who invented it?
I don't know who invented it. I tried to look that up, but there was no exact answer. David?
Which was first out of like the water clock and the sundial?
The sundial was the very first timekeeping.